Hey, hi friends, welcome to today's session. So today we are going to discuss about async and await that is introduced in Swift 5.5, and we will also see that how this async and await can really improve the readability of our code, and also we'll dig more into the async await, and we'll also discuss about task, that how we can use tasks to actually call our asynchronous function. So first half of the session, I will just try to be explaining about how to use this async and await keyword. And then in the next half of the session, I will show you how we can convert our existing URL session code into async and await and how it will solve some of the existing problem using that. So let's start with async. So if you see the definition of async, async stands for asynchronous and can be seen as a method attribute, making it clear that a method performs asynchronous tasks. Like when you use a async keyword, let's say that when I am using this async keyword on this function, then it is going to perform the task asynchronously. Okay, and then we also have await keyword, so we can just call this async and await as husband and wife, like where we have async, we'll use await keyword to access those method. So await is a keyword to be used for calling the async method. Now what is this main actor, we'll discuss in the next half. So let's and first try to see the how we can use the async and await. So it is very simple. To make any function asynchronous, you have to just define a async keyword after your function, just like how I have done it. Okay. So if you see in this current example, I'm using I'm defined three functions. The first function is fetch numbers, which is just returning a list of number. The second function is calculating the total of it. So I'm just using a reduce to sum the number up. And the third function is returning the output, which is just returning a formatted text. Okay. Now, if you see, all these functions are using asynchronous keyword. And when you call this asynchronous keyword, the function need to use this await keyword, that you are awaiting for this function to be completed, and until unless this line is not completed, the compiler will not go to the next line. So this you can call it as that it will keep, your compiler will keep blocking this execution until unless this fetch number has been completed, or this function has completed its execution. Okay, so if you see all the function, I have used this await keyword. Let's try to call this function process. Now see, as this function is also async keyword, so what it wants, that I will be calling it using await keywords. Await and then process. What is the function name? Process. Yes. Now see, the moment I write await dot process, it is telling that await is a function, and then it is asking me to use async keyword here. Now see, first thing is that this view did load is not my function. This function belongs to UI view controller, which no, like when you confirm to it, you have overridden it. So if you keep adding await and await, what will happen? It will become an infinite loop, and then you will end up adding await and async in all this function. Now to solve this, we have another keyword called task. So you can use task to actually call this async function, and inside the task we can use the await keyword, and then the compiler will not complain you that the function from where the call is going on, that also has to await. Okay, so what is basically a task? It's a unit of asynchronous work. Okay, so what I can do, I can define a task here, and then I can call this. So now when you call this, let's see how the output appears to you. So if you see here, first it calls the fetch number, and then it fetch the number for you. And then see, meanwhile it didn't call this. It waited for this operation to be completed. Then it printed a total, and then it printed the output. So the call is going in asynchronous way. It's not happening parallelly. Like it's not like that all these functions are happening execution parallelly. But you can have a scenario. Let's say that when you want to call the function parallel, not like something in a serial order. Although these functions are happening asynchronously, but this function call are waiting for the completed and before the starting the next call. Okay, now let's say that instead of having this fetch numbers which returns me a list of number, I have something like this function fetch number. Okay, and this is also a asynchronous function, and this returns me a normal integer. Just and then what I'm going to do to use the random function, and let's say that I want something in the range of 1 to 10. Okay, now I want to fetch my number. Let's say that I have to fetch three number. I want to fetch it parallelly because my intention is not that I have to wait to fetch my first number. I then only fetch the next number, then only fetch the next number. So let's say that if I have something like this, I'll call it as number one, number two, number three, and then fetch number. Okay, instead of numbers, just number. Now, what will happen right now if you call like this? All these functions will no execute asynchronously, but it will execute one after the other. First this call will happen completely, then this call, then this call, but I want it to be executed parallelly. Now if you see the Apple's documentation, here you can read about asynchronous function. Let's see that calling an asynchronous function with await runs only one piece of code at a time. So if you even if you call this three, it will not run all this at one all together. So while the asynchronous code is running, the caller waits for the code to finish before moving on to the run to the next line of code. And this is not what I wanted in this case because all my numbers are independent. Like it doesn't depend on any this like that I need to first download number one, then I have to download number two. And that same thing can you go in the real-time API call. Let's say that if you have a scenario where you want to call four API call, and those all API call are independent with each other. So in that case, if you write it like that, this doesn't make a very efficient code. Okay, now for that, the Apple has given us the another thing. So this approach, if you see here, this approach has an important drawback. Although the download is asynchronous and lets other work happen while it progresses, only one call to download photo run at a time, and each photo download complete before the next one starts downloading. However, there is no need to for these operations to wait because all these photos are downloading independently. Now, to call an asynchronous function and let it run in parallel with code around it, write async in front of late where you define a constant. So now, see, there is another approach how you can overcome this function. And this is again a very important question in terms of your interview. Like if somebody asks you that, how can you make a parallel code running when using a async and await keyword? So that you have to use something like you can define your function like async late and then call all those function call it together using one await keyword. Okay, so not using await in all the function, instead that using it in one time. Okay, so let's define the way Apple has defined. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this line for my reference. I'll just change it back to like this. Okay, and I'll remove this await keyword from here, and then I'll call all this together like the way it has been called here. So let now I'll just comment this line. I'll just write numbers here and then replace this with number one, number two, and number three. So now using this approach, I'm calling the function asynchronously, but now it's running parallelly. Now my number one, number two, number three API is called or in the real time will not be dependent on each other. Okay. Now let's see this how we can implement this in a real time API call. Okay. So this is one of the example that I created long back. If you see here, I have, let me run it meanwhile. So I have simple comment view where I'm using a API call to fetch my list of comments. I'm just using my JSON placeholder free API. So if you see here, this is what I'm calling, and then it is fetching data and displaying in the list. Okay. Now if you see from my comment view model, I'm calling the function using my service dependency injection which I have injected here, and then I'm calling get comments and find late calls here, and then fetch your data. Now there's nothing wrong in this code, okay? Like this is what we are using URL system from long time, like I think around 5 6 years. But how this piece of way can create some time problem. Now let's say that, and this is many times happens with you, like you call one API call, and then from that, using the success response, you are dependent on some other API call. Let's say that here, after this API call has faced successfully, I want to call some other API. Let's say that I don't have any other API, so I'm calling the same API again. Okay, so let me just use here a weak self. Okay, now what it happening? You can see that this code becomes little clumsy. Correct? Now what if I have another dependency like calling one more API call inside it? So let's say that just copying and pasting this code and writing it one more time. So now I have three API call which are dependent on each other. Uh, Like first I'm calling gate comments, or and then I'm calling another gate comments, and then I'm calling another comments. So what does this is doing? This will work fine even if I run. I will see the same output because I'm just calling the same API three times. So it will not have any change in my screen. But you see the readability of code. And here we introduce one serious problem which is called in programming language do. So what we are doing, we are just having multiple dependencies or multiple nested conditions like this. Okay, if there is a success call for the first API call, I will be calling second, and then I will calling third. Now this makes your code sorry, not more, less readable. And this problem can be easily solved using async and await keyword. Okay, so we'll see this now. So let me just revert the code back. Okay, so now let me first write the same thing, same piece of code using a async and await approach. Okay, so I'll define one more method in my protocol. So I'll delete everything, and here I'll start writing. So async then throws. So you can see that how much simple this function definition is compared to what we have existing. Like, okay, now let's implement this function. So the compiler is asking me to implement it. Oh, let's try to write this. So the first line is going to remain same because we have to form the URL. Okay. Now the next line, so what is telling that cannot find completion. Obviously we don't have any completion right now. So what we have right now throw. So we are going to throw the error. So throw, and what we have to throw? We have to throw dot bad URL. Let's see. Okay, still not identifying. Let me give demo error dot bad URL. So now this is fine. Now let's move to the actual API call. Okay, so now if you see the first thing, that how much simpler the function which is we have written using await keyword compared to what we have the existing one. And here the data what we were getting was optional, but here if you see the data what we are getting here, this is not optional. You see, this is so no need of again further checking it using if let or guard let whether we are getting the proper data or not. So the one thing what you have to check whether the response is success or not using the status code. This might depend based on what API call you are calling and what backend is sending to you. So in my case, this is 200, the standard one, and then I'm just doing the decoding based on what model we have, and then I'm just returning the decoded data. So this really makes the code very less and very simple and then very readable. Okay, now let's try to call now this function instead of making the call to our existing one what we are doing. So let's go to back to my comment view model, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just delete it, or let me just create a new function here, function fetch using async. Okay, now here let's try to write our function. So I'll just use a do catch block because we are throwing it so that I can catch my error. And then here let try, oh sorry, let data equals to try await and then service dot get comments. Okay, and then here we have to catch the error. Right now I'm not doing anything with the error, so I'll just print the error. Now if you see again, it is complaining me because I'm calling using await. That means my function need to be asynchronous. Okay, and that solves our error. Okay, and then here once we have the data, I can assign it to my comments. So simple. See, there's no need of using a result type, checking for success failure. It's as simple as it is. Okay, sorry. Okay, now let's go back to our view, and then instead of calling fetch command, I'll call dot fetch using async. Okay, and again the same error what we got that time, that when you're using asynchronous function, again this is asking for that this my function has to be async. So what I will do, I'll just put it inside a task. Now I am done. So let me call this. Okay, sorry, I missed the wait word. Now let's see the output. Now see, my list is again loaded. Now coming back to the problem which I was talking. Now the first thing what I'm seeing here, that is asking me that I'm not updating my UI on the main thread. Okay, so one thing, the way we were doing in the existing implementation was using dispatch queue.main.async. And now for when you're using async in a way, there is one more thing which is introduced by Swift, and that is called main actor. Okay, now what does main actor basically do? When we are using the main actor attributes, what the compiler basically does, that when you're writing, let's say that you're writing n number of lines here, but the lines of code which are responsible for updating the UI, the compiler will automatically use the main thread in that particular case. So no need of manually telling the compiler that use dispatch queue main.async, means coming back to the main thread and then update the UI. Okay, so this keyword will take care of everything. So this is again asked in the question that what is actor. So actor I'm going to discuss in my next videos. What is main actor use? So main actor is just responsible for updating your all the things on the main thread. And so now let it run again, and this time I should not see this blue warning for me. Okay. So if you see, this works perfect. Now what if I have to call service call 3 times? It's very easy. Call it n number of time. So see, there's no dependency because my the next service call is going to be called only when this has been completed. So there's no nested condition the way we were writing initially, success 1, success 2, success 3. So if I run it, it works as it is fine. But anyway, I'm using the first data, so there's no further effect. But yes, there's no problem in that. So this way, how I can solve the problem of pyramid of DOM using async and await keyword. Okay, so that's all about today's video. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you really enjoyed this video, please do like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thank you.